Hey, what is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, as if many of you did see the video that I released maybe about 2 or 3 hours ago now, you kind of did expect that this video was coming, as I did mention in that video that I'm going to start talking about some of our more well-established and bigger cryptos, as I do think it's an important next step for my channel and an important next step for many of the people who have been investing in these hype coins recently. So one thing I do want to do, if you have not gone and watched that video, please go check it out real quick. I think it'll lead into this video really well, and I think you'll kind of understand the change in direction and the reason why I did post this video that I'm making right now. So what I want to talk about today is going to be the biggest crypto holding that I have in my portfolio, why I bought it, why I'm so excited about it, and what my game plans going forward are. So we clearly have a lot of information to get into today, so grab your popcorn, kick back, relax, and let's get into it. Now, if you do want access to every single one of these videos way before the public gets access to it, if you want access to all the research that I do, if you want access to my trades, my trade alerts, everything like that, go down to the link in the description. It'll bring you over to the Patreon. We have 7 spots left in the bronze. I made the silver completely unlimited, so it will never run out. So go ahead and go check that out. Also, if you are looking to expand out into a new brokerage or start your own investment journey, I highly recommend using Webull. Whenever you sign up and deposit $100, you will get 2 free stocks valued all the way up to $1,850. But with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump straight into today's videos. So today we are talking about Ethereum. So what is Ethereum and why exactly have I chosen this one over maybe something like Bitcoin? Well, the reason I think Ethereum is just absolutely so phenomenal is just the core functionality behind it and what its purpose is. The usage is just so absolutely phenomenal. So if you're unaware, whenever we talk about Ethereum, we're talking actually about the token Ether. Ethereum is going to be the blockchain in which many of these different decentralized apps are going to be built upon. Ether is going to be the native cryptocurrency that is used on these different platforms or on these different apps, or dApps as we do say, that is going to control the circulation of Ether itself, right? So for example, Gary Vee is currently coming out with a big NFT project that's supposed to be released in 2 days. He is going to be selling a whole bunch of different NFTs, and in order to buy those NFTs, you're going to have to use Ether. So as you can tell here, Ether is just the native cryptocurrency for the blockchain of Ethereum. Now, the reason that I think that this is just so absolutely phenomenal, and one thing that I think about this, going forward, that I think it has so much potential, is simply due to the fact that as cryptocurrency does expand, as we do start to see many more people understand it, as we see many more institutions bring it on, and as the overall society and the world itself just accepts the fact that crypto is here and it is here to stay, that things, different cryptos such as Ether or the blockchain Ethereum, they are going to just continue to grow, but specifically Ethereum. Now, the reason I say that is because yes, we do have so much coming up with ETH London and all of that. We'll get into that in future videos. I don't want to make this a 30-minute video, but as we do basically, generally accept that going forward, as many of these new projects do coming around, as people like Gary Vee, different celebrities, as they start to create new projects, and as the hype does continue, typically a lot of these projects will be built on the Ethereum blockchain. As that does continue to happen, of course, Ether is going to be much more necessary. We're going to need it, and as supply is, somewhat diminishing, and as demand is increasing, of course, that is going to create a great price effect. Now, going forward, I think that there's pretty much endless potential for the usage of Ether. Now, the reason that I say that is because how big can crypto get? Who really knows, right? Crypto can continue to grow and continue to grow, because I honestly think now that crypto is bigger than anyone thought it would have been 6 months ago in 6 months, right? Even some of the people who have just been absolute fanatics about crypto are even still surprised about how much this thing is growing and how much is becoming so widely accepted in society, and is growing in popularity at, by the tons, right? So with that, as that does continue to grow, we're going to see more developments. We're going to see more platforms. We're going to see more apps. We're going to continue to see all of these different cryptos and these projects come around, and Ethereum has established itself as the blockchain, like the gold standard for the most part, right? And as that does continue to happen, the usage of Ethereum will continue to grow. As that does happen, of course, we will see crypto or the Ether cryptocurrency itself, like I said earlier, the supply increase, and then we continue to see the price increase. Now, the reason that I feel as if, I have set this one aside and I've kind of decided this is going to be my biggest holding for now in comparison to Bitcoin per se, because that's my second biggest holding, is for this reason coming up. So it's not a big split, right? It's a 60-40. Okay, so if you look at my 2 positions, say if I have maybe 100 grand invested into both of them combined, which is not the real number, just hypothetically, it'd be 60,000 Ethereum, 40,000 Bitcoin. Now, the reason I've done so is because we have to still accept the fact that Bitcoin is like the godfather of this entire thing, right? Bitcoin is basically what got all of this off the ground. So going forward, Bitcoin is still probably going to be considered the, the highest level of store of value within the crypto market for a very long time, right? It's digital gold, as many people do say, right? And so as it does go forward, it'll be very hard to replace Bitcoin because it's already just established itself at such a, just a major level in comparison to all the other altcoins. I mean, everything that's not Bitcoin literally has its own name, right? So I think it's essential to have a piece of Bitcoin within your portfolio. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, and you really shouldn't pay attention to what I'm saying at any point to make your own investment decisions anyway. But whenever it does come to it, the reason that I am somewhat starting to switch to the point that I want Ethereum and I'm going to make Ethereum a bigger position is due to the use value, right? And I'm very big on use value. Many of you know that. If you watch my channel, you know usage is something that I invest in personally because it's what I like. I'm an investor. That's what I like to invest in, so that's what I like to talk about. And so with Ethereum, I think that it has the same capabilities as Bitcoin in a sense, right? I would say that some of the different transactions are a little bit different. It might be a little bit slower, etc. But at the end of the day, whenever we consider a pure storage of value, there's no really saying that Ethereum can't be of the same potential as Bitcoin as it comes to just genuinely and generally storing value, right? Ethereum can do quite the same. But of course, Bitcoin is on a whole different level. I mean, you don't get up to $60,000 of Bitcoin for no reason, right? So with that, I think that is a bit why I've kind of made the decision that I wanted to go more into Ethereum. Okay, and that's why I've created it as the biggest, portfolio holding in my portfolio of cryptocurrencies. So what I kind of want to go ahead and do now that I've kind of run through it, explained why I'm such a big fan of it, there's so much more information that we have to talk about. There's so many small things and big things and dates and all this stuff coming up with Ethereum that we will cover as the days do go on. Now I will go ahead. I'll kind of talk about what I have done with Ethereum over the last couple of days, why I bought some whenever I bought some, and then what I plan on doing going into the future. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're looking at the Ethereum against the US dollar just to get an idea of how it has been moving. Well, as you can see here, it has been absolutely flying. This thing is going absolutely insane. Well, what we did notice, and when I did make my first bigger entry, because Ethereum is one that I've been monitoring, I couldn't decide whether I wanted to pull the trigger on it, but I really pulled the trigger sometime around last week. I had a little bit invested into it, but I've really made the decision to put a lot more into it, and that was actually going to be last week. Now, the reason why I had made the decision to do it last week was simply going to be for the fact that we noticed it break trend. Now, what I mean by that is at the time we started to notice this wedge forming, but the thing is, of course, as it did reach upline, bottom line, upline, bottom line, then it just absolutely broke, right? I mean, it was a pure breakout. I mean, that is textbook definition breakout. So whenever I took notice that it broke out, I was like, okay, let's see exactly how I monitor it. I monitored it for a day. I was like, okay, this thing is being able to maintain momentum. And as you can see here within my Patreon, I said trade alert. I'm increasing my position into Ethereum. I let them know that I was putting a little bit of money into it and that I plan on holding this thing for a very, very long time. Now, at the time, I personally was unsure whether or not it was going to be able to break the trend that it had been in for the last couple months. As we could see, it was trading pretty clearly within this channel. Now, as it did start to approach those levels, I was considering like, okay, is this something I want to trade? Is this something I want to get in, get out, get in, get out? But as time did go on, as I started to realize the true usage of Ethereum, I realized that even if it was to fall, that I would just put even more money into it and I would dollar cost average my way in. And I'm very glad that I made that decision because at the time I was considering, as it did approach this upper channel, that it could be a good time to take profits. Now, we did almost, it seemed as if we were starting to lose momentum, and I personally felt like it was possible that we would see it get rejected, but that was not the case. And as we can see here, it is absolutely flying. Now, we do have a few different things coming up that I think are affecting the Ethereum price. I would say as we do see Gary V's platform getting launched in 2 days, people may not realize how much hype this thing has, but it's just absolutely insane. And so I think a lot of that is definitely contributing to the price. Now, even if we look at this in comparison to Bitcoin, I mean, this is still very realistic for what is, what we could have expected, right? If we look at the comparison between Ethereum and Bitcoin, people might say, oh no, these levels that Ethereum at right now are just absolutely ridiculous. It makes no sense. But I mean, if we monitor the channel that it's been in for the last about 8 months, I mean, this is exactly what it indicated and exactly where we could have expected it to go. And so, yes, this thing could be getting a little bit of ahead of itself, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I think realistically, as time goes on, that this is going to become much more normal. Now going forward, I do believe that we may see a little bit of a pullback here as things are starting to somewhat indicate that may be the case. As we can see here, we are seeing a little bit of divergence as the price does go upward, but volume is decreasing, and we're seeing the RSI start to work its way up out of this region, of course, which is going to be in the overbought region. So it is going to be definitely something to pay attention to. Personally, I still stand by what I said not too long ago, that I do believe that Ethereum is going to reach the $5,000 to $10,000 mark within this calendar year. I truly believe it. If I'm wrong, I'll bite my words, but I'm willing to bet my money on it as I have been building up my positions into them. So what I'm currently doing is I'm dollar cost averaging my way in. Whether or not this thing is going to go up, or whether or not this thing is going to go down, the short term doesn't really bother me all that much, right? I'm not all that too concerned. I really don't care whether or not this thing goes all the way back down to 27, or whether this thing goes, of course, like 36, which would be nice. Currently, I truly do believe that 5,000 is the next step. I think we are still in price discovery, and so setting a true like, oh, it's going to reach this level, it's going to reach that level, it's kind of hard. Of course, we can look at the Fibonacci, and we can look at many different things that'll indicate maybe around the 3,600 level. But at the moment, all I'm focused on is not worrying about levels, solely just focusing on increasing my position, getting some time in, and getting some exposure to Ethereum itself. With that being said, I do believe that as we do continue, as we see many of these different altcoins flourish, that this is going to just continue to be great for Ethereum, and I definitely want to take advantage of it. You know, one thing I was kind of thinking about earlier, I was like, man, no matter what exactly is happening with altcoins, Ethereum's going to benefit from it, right? Because one thing we have noticed within the market itself is that as other altcoins start to not necessarily do so well, we see a lot of that money transferred out of them and then into Ethereum, because of course Ethereum is kind of like the godfather of altcoins, everything not Bitcoin, right? And so with that of course is good for Ethereum, because that is going to pump the price up as supply and demand does work how it works, of course. Well, one thing that we also notice is that when other altcoins are doing well, but many of them are built on the Ethereum blockchain and then are utilizing Ether, well, of course, that's going to be beneficial to Ethereum as well. And so it's kind of very interesting to see just the capabilities and the internal stability that Ethereum has within itself. And I'm super duper excited to cover it, see where it's going. I'm so happy to be able to talk about it on the channel. I told y'all I wanted to take kind of a new direction with this. And with that, I'm very, very excited. I plan on covering in the future, maybe doing a little bit more technical analysis on this channel. I've historically done very little technical analysis because I know there are many investors who are new on my channel and I don't want to confuse anyone. But I think with Ethereum, I can kind of pick it up a bit and try to explain it in a simple way. And so hopefully that is exactly what I will be able to do. So with that being said, that is kind of just me introducing the biggest holding in my portfolio. That's going to be Ethereum. I hope you all check it out. Let me know what you think about it down below. If you do like it, if you don't like it, what do you think about Ethereum Classic? What do you think about ETH London? And all of these things coming up in the future. I'll be covering them very, very soon here, so I hope you all are excited. And yeah, I post on this channel 2 to 3 times every single day, and I can't wait to see you all next time. Peace.